We'll begin today's council meeting with a citizens forum. You'll have 2 minutes to address council as I call your name. We have several speakers today, so I'll call people up in threes, just to give people a heads up and try to expedite as many folks as possible. Our first speaker is Sister Kelly, followed by Richard Von Nida, followed by Josh Spring. As you come up, you can take your choice of the 3 microphones at the dais, or you can choose to grab the mic as Sister Kelly's doing. And when you start speaking, the time will start. When you see the yellow light flash, that means you have 1 minute left. Okay? Go ahead, Sister.
Good afternoon to Mayor Pureval, Vice Mayor Kearney, and all distinguished members of City Council. I am Sister Kelly, and I wanted to come today to just address the City of Cincinnati and let everybody know on Sunday, August 13th, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., I will be holding a citywide event called Hope Fest. This Hope Fest is to join our city for one day of hope and healing for each and every person in Cincinnati. It came out of COVID, and it came out of us rebuilding ourselves, and we are still rebuilding, but we're resilient, we're strong, we can do it. So I have a lot of different people coming, from community leaders, faith leaders. There's even going to be entertainment and singing. I personally want to come out and invite all of you to Hope Fest down at Fountain Square, Sunday, August 13th, 4 p.m. Don't meet me there, beat me there. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Sister. Next speaker is Richard Von Nida, followed by Josh Spring, followed by Vicki Levitt, Leavitt.
Hello, my name is Richard Von Nida. I'm from College Hill. A month ago, me and other residents appeared here to give a statement of fact that 2,400 residents have paid to have their lead pipes abated. Again, as presented last month to those council members who were here for the public comment period. We paid for the lead abatement that Waterworks deemed required, not because we wanted to, but to follow directive and not to be poisoned. Nobody wanted to see Flint, Michigan here in Cincinnati. However, the city, after discovering that most people would not pay for lead poisoning removal, voted to have this service for free, meaning that council agreed to say it would be free for the 36,000 people. We have asked that you give a credit to the residents who paid. Basically, we are being punished for adhering to the city's mandate. Another story appeared in the Cincinnati Enquirer a week ago relating to the plight regarding this wrong being corrected. The story summed up the need for council to act. On a side note, I personally want to thank Councilman Wash for calling me last time to update in regard to some points. I do appreciate. However, there are still some points that need to be addressed. Councilman Walsh, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, referred to the law that disallowed us to receive a credit. I've been trying to track this down and thus far have not found it. So I can continue to roam this building for answers, or you can provide it. It doesn't need to be this hard. Wherever the law is, it doesn't really apply here. I wish I could mobilize all the 2,400 families affected to appear here in this section. Then maybe the TV coverage, we might get the attention we need. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your help.
Thank you, sir. For those of you standing, no problem. Happy for you to stand, but there are seats on the 4th floor if you'd like to take a seat. Our next speaker is Josh Spring, followed by Vicki Levitt, followed by Margaret Fox. Mr. Spring.
Josh Spring, Executive Director of the Greater Cincinnati Homeless Coalition. Our collective group here, Cincinnati Action for Housing Now, has to turn in 5,385 signatures to put affordable housing on this November's ballot. We have collected nearly 12,000 signatures. people sought us out to sign this petition. We are here today because we're calling on City Council to act. We haven't turned in these signatures yet. Once we do, certainly this will be on the ballot this November. And the thing is, once it passes, it will amend our charter to restore our earnings tax to its 2020 level and use the restoration to fund truly affordable housing. However, because of the way state law works, when we turn in the signatures, it will require 2 votes. We will have to go back next November to vote to implement that restored tax. However, if you, 6 of 9 of you, vote to put it on, you can do it all at once. You can save us an entire year. You can allow voters to vote to begin funding affordable housing next year instead of 2025. We have provided to you a motion. You could pass it or a version of it, committing yourselves to do everything required by law to put this and the funding on the ballot this November. We are calling on you to pass this motion today and then get to work on, and it'll require some special meetings over the next week, but you can do it. This has been given to all of you as well as the law department. If not, we've got the 12,000 signatures.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Our next
Mr.
speaker
Mayor.
is...
My name is Margaret Fox, Executive Director.
Excuse me, I'm
Oh,
so sorry. Our next speaker is actually Vicki Levitt.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
Okay.
I apologize for interrupting you. Go ahead, Vicki. Okay, great. Vicki has ceded her time to you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Margaret.
Thank you, Vicki.
Margaret Peg Fox, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I am here representing the Metropolitan Area Religious Coalition of Cincinnati, MARC, and I'm also here to ask City Council to pass a motion to place affordable housing on the November 23rd ballot through a 0.3% earnings tax. What has yet to be calculated in the figure of 40,000 affordable units is we have had a substantial number of immigrants that have moved into Hamilton County and the city of Cincinnati over the past few years. The MARC photo ID card has been a tool through which that they can access municipal services here in the city of Cincinnati as well as in the city of Covington. It was passed by a former city council and signed by a former manager. So the total number of photo ID cards is 3,256. Just between April 12, 2017 and July 2023, the total number is 2,108 card holders. 99% of the card holders are immigrants. Approximately half are new arrivals. In addition, there is a growing Mauritanian community in Hamilton County, city of Cincinnati, estimated between 3,000 and 5,000 people. They have arrived in the past year. We know there are plenty of jobs, but not affordable housing. Now the projected total becomes 45,000 affordable units that are needed, and probably minimally 30,000 in the city of Cincinnati. Therefore, it is critical for you to vote to restore the earnings tax to generate 40 to 50 million annually for Fund 439. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker is Vicki Levitt, followed by, I think, Letitia Cunningham, and then Queen's Journey.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. Good to see some of you again in person. My name is Vicki Levitt. I am a homeowner and resident in OTR, and I'm here today to ask you to please pass a motion today to get affordable housing on the ballot for this November. City Council of Cincinnati has been talking for affordable housing for years. It is long time overdue. It's past time to talk. It's time to act. And you can do that today. In addition to the ballot and properly funding the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, the city, in my view, also needs a strategy to ensure that big developers don't continue to receive big incentives while providing little or no truly affordable housing or payment in lieu. I'm okay with either one, but they need to do something to benefit the community. To be clear, I am not against development. I'm not even against market rate development. But I'm actually sick and tired of developers and even council members from Cincinnati talking about the inclusion of the odd couple of affordable housing units in these big projects of things that are supposedly affordable. They're minuscule percentages of the big developments, and $1,000 or more for a studio is not affordable housing. We all know that 80%, 60%, 30% of AMI are important numbers to keep in mind, and they needed to be part of what we're doing here. Again, the time for talking and platitudes is over. The time to act must start today. Many of you ran on this. Please vote today to ensure that the November ballot this year has affordable housing on it with your support. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vicki. As I call your name, please come up and fill the seats. So our next speaker is Letitia Cunningham, Queen's Journey, if you could approach the dais, and Julie Murray as well. Letitia, go ahead when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Council and Mayor. I sit here in front of you today and I represent the unheard voices of our homeless children who are being evicted from their homes because they no longer can afford $1,800, $1,900, $2,000 a month. These are not people who are not working. These are the people who are helping your city every single day by serving, by working, by riding buses, by driving the buses, by working in your restaurants. They can't afford to sit in your city. They can't afford to send their kids to Cincinnati public schools anymore. Every day, I work at Bethany House. Every day, we are faced with children being born into homelessness in this city that are coming through our doors because they have been evicted. This is not a want. This is a need. Or we're going to continue to come back here begging you for more shelters, begging you for more resources, because we can't afford. I make nice money here, but me and my husband ourselves are looking possibly, because guess what? The bank says I cannot afford a $950 mortgage, but I pay $1,800 in the city of Cincinnati. So these are your working, voting people. So I ask that you put this motion through for affordable housing today. Don't wait.
Thank you. Queen's Journey is our next speaker, followed by Julie Murray, if you could approach, and Hemen Aklilu, A-K-L-I-L-U-E, I believe. Go ahead, Queen's Journey.
Hello, Mayor, Vice Mayor, all of the City Council. I am Queen's Journey. My given name is Ashley. I am native to Cincinnati, but I am also a radio personality with Busy One Radio here in the city. I come to give a faith to those of us who are and who have experienced homelessness. They look like me. No, I don't look like what I've been through, so I praise God, amen. But I've been through it. I was homeless for almost a year the first time. COVID wiped me out the second time. And the third time, I had to separate myself from my children because I couldn't walk them through that a third time. I was living under Marion Way in my Honda before the Esther Haddon House had taken me in. And even then, I am now still in a permanent supportive housing program, but due to other circumstances, now I gotta move again. So I just come to give y'all a face to what we look like. We work, we have children, we have lovely personalities, we are educated. but we can't afford our rent. I got 43, 42. They look like me, everyday citizens. I graduated here in Cincinnati. I live in Cincinnati, born and bred, Cincinnati, Ohio, Hamilton County. They look like me. So affordable housing needs to be on the ballot today, and we need not wait another 365 days for people to have a house, wealth, equity, longevity, and simply a peace of mind. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Reverend Belford, if you could approach the dais. Our next speaker is Julie Murray.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and City Council, for giving me a chance to speak to this issue also. I'm a resident, homeowner, taxpayer, self-employed woman living in the city. I'm so proud of our city in so many respects except one, and that is the incredibly high number of unhoused persons. People like me who cannot afford housing in our city. I voted for almost every one of you in the last election when all of you ran promising, concretely telling us about your plans and commitment to resolve the crisis of not nearly enough affordable housing in the city. Each of you assured us that you were committed to solve this serious problem, actually this shameful reality in our city when more and more money is being spent on entertainment venues and upscale expensive housing development, and still Affordable Housing Trust Fund has not been funded, resulting in leaving many without decent housing they can find and afford. I beg you today for one of you to have the courage to put forward the motion to get this on the ballot in November, and for 5 more of you to vote yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Julie. Roy Davis, if you could approach the dais. Hemen,
Yes.
Could you please tell me your last name?
Aklilu.
Hemen Aklilu, welcome. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, council members. The reason I'm here today is to bring attention or bring awareness to the immigration, refugee, asylee crisis that we have in this city, Greater Cincinnati, as a whole. As referenced earlier, they are here in the thousands. I was made aware of Mauritanians, and now I've been made aware that there are Indians, Chinese, Venezuelans also present in our city needing our assistance. There are 18 people living in 1-bedrooms, and they came here, they came here escaping violence, not just poverty. They went through a treacherous road to come here because it is the promised land. I myself am a daughter of immigrants. I went to Mother of Mercy High School. I love this city. This city granted me such great opportunities, and I just want that for the asylees that are here that are 18 to 30, 17, that don't have homes. So America is welcoming her immigrants, and if the city is truly a sanctuary city, I please ask you to work with the thousands of organizations that are already putting in their time and many private citizens, and to also please advertise Welcome Court for these immigrants, these citizens that have taken up on themselves to help the city, to help the country house these refugees, to house these asylum seekers, so they don't lose their kids, so they don't lose their house. Because as we've heard all day today, housing is unaffordable. So thank you so much for your time, and I trust everybody is truly working on this. I just wanted to bring further attention to the issue, and there are some upstairs, so you can see them. that are here.
Thank you very much. If Roy Davis could approach the dais, as well as Bonnie Newmeyer. Our next speaker is Reverend Belford. Welcome, Reverend.
Buford.
Buford, I
Buford.
apologize. I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. First, giving honor to God, I'd like to acknowledge the mayor, the vice mayor, and other council people that I know. I'm here, as it turns out, to speak on behalf of the woman that just was talking about migrants and immigrants, as well as the people who are here to talk about affordable housing, in addition to what I originally came here to speak for. So I wanted to throw that in there. First of all, my ancestors came here as fugitive slaves. The reason why they were here, they came here as immigrants. Listen to what I'm saying. We did not become citizens of the United States until 1865. My ancestors who lived in Indian Hill and bought land there and settled there, built the railroads that were completed before the Civil War started 20 years later. We're here today to claim our land in Indian Hill. A lot of people don't know that black people own land by the acre in Indian Hill. And we want you to dedicate your part of that. Now, there used to be a sentiment in Cincinnati that created this headline: Douglas Park, new subdivision, modest and moderate priced homes for colored people to be built. And this was a 25-acre tract of land that was dedicated to black people who had built the railroads, who had built Indian Hill, who had built all of the area around that they didn't want to pay white people honest wages for. So they exploited our labor, and they take our land, and now Cincinnati should dedicate Amy Avenue. And the dedication of Amy Avenue would turn it into a part of Cincinnati, which it should have been when it was annexed in 1912. What we would like to do is see Cincinnati take ownership of that land, or Indian Hill take ownership and responsibility for cleaning it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. If Al Hurt could approach the dais. Our next speaker is Roy Davis.
Yes, sir. Dear Mayor Affleck, Vice Mayor Kearney, and members of council, my name is Roy Davis. I'm a board member of CUFA, Community Uniting for Action. Not only a board member, I'm the vice president. So therefore, today, I ask you to make a motion to put funding for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund in this year's November ballot. After many years of renting, I finally, in my retirement, have been able to afford to buy a house of my own. I am 77 years young. Took that long, okay? And I would have been able to get a house earlier if I had financial assistance and if my rent wasn't so unaffordable. We must fund the Affordable Housing Trust Fund to ensure that we are meeting the demands for truly affordable housing. New developments are almost always out of reach for people like me. So my question is, who is the housing? Who is affordable? I mean, who's the housing for? It's not for me, evidently. It took me this long to buy a house. Well, I worked for it. By the way, I can't just talk about it. We have to be about it, okay? We can't wait 2 or 3 more years to fill this gap. When I was in the service, I'm military, during the Vietnam conflict, I took an oath to the United States. My oath was, I will protect the American from foreign and domestic enemies. And today I'm fighting for a solution for our housing crisis. That you might have an opportunity to help us. So I want to thank you for giving me the time to speak.
Thank you, Roy. If Koa Bennett, I believe it's a COA, it might be LOA, Bennett, last name Bennett, could approach the dais. Our next speaker is Bonnie Newmeyer. Welcome, Bonnie.
Thank you. Thanks for listening, Mayor Preble and Vice Mayor Kearney and all city council people. I'm a co-founder and board member of both Peasley and Over the Rhine Community Housing. We together can create a dedicated pot of money for the local housing trust fund if we get this ballot initiative passed in November. It's the people's solution. We are taking responsibility to pitch in and help. I beg you to stand with us and give it your support. What do you have to lose? 50 years ago, we started a one-room storefront to house persons homeless at 1711 Vine Street. I got involved in that effort because I believed everyone has the right to a roof over their head and a place to call home. Never did I think over these 50 long years the problem would intensify. We understood then that the lack of truly affordable housing was the cause, and it still is. Its impact today is troubling to more women and children, particularly our Black sisters and their families disproportionately. I witness people, many I can call by name, struggle daily with housing instability. We have the capacity to imagine a better outcome. When I come out my door each morning, I witness too many people huddled in doorways, sleeping on steps, scavenging for food, and families living unstable lives because they can't find housing that is truly affordable. There's not enough, and what's there is too expensive. Our cry for more, our cry to put our needs front of the line is an urgency. It's hard seeing our workers at Over the Rhine Community Housing trying to fill gaps in financing for housing projects that sometimes takes years to pull together. We can all live healthier lives if everyone has a place to call home. It's the reason I got involved in housing justice 50 years ago, and what still compels me to act and use my voice today for truly affordable housing. We can do this with your vote of yes. Thank you.
Thank you. If T. Dwayne Gordon could approach. Our next speaker is Friar Al Hirt. Welcome, sir.
Friar Al Hirt. I am the pastor of St. Francis Seraph Church at Liberty and Vine. I've never been homeless, which I suspect most of you have not experienced that yourselves. But I see it, and I know you see it in this city. I see it outside the doors of my church and inside the doors of my church where people come to find shelter. Alan and Michael, who I've now known for a couple of years, lived in the neighborhood until their building was sold for redevelopment. They were evicted, and they could not find another place to live in their neighborhood. Their home is OTR, and there was no place for them to live. So the last 2 years has meant basically shelters and streets and the inside of our church as a place to find warmth in the winter and cool in the summer. That's intolerable for a good city to have that many people suffering like this. Please trust the citizens of Cincinnati. We're not asking the council to solve the problem. All we want from one of you is a motion to put it on the ballot in November. Let us, the citizens of Cincinnati, we have power that apparently you don't have. So give us a chance to vote on this earnings tax increase, 0.3%, back to where we were 4 years ago. Let the citizens decide if this is what we need and want. I think Cincinnati is a great city, but it can be a much better city, and we could be a leading city in the country if we really tackle homelessness. So please, we're doing a great deal of development. I applaud some of that, but at the expense of so many people who can't afford to live here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Friar. If Alyssa Ward could approach the dais. Up next is Ms. Bennett.
Dear esteemed city government, I speak for a plea of heartlessness and stagnation. It's a trivial issue that demands our non-essential attention. This lack of affordable housing for our low-income and homeless population. It is unimportant that we address this matter, and I say we do it negligently and dubiously. Oh, how delightful it is, this greed of mine, to watch the homeless suffer. What a maniacal sign. Their plea for shelter fall on deaf ears while we revel in privileges and careers. Oh, why should we share such precious space with the destitute and those in disgrace? Their misfortune is a source of entertainment as we bask in wealth and self-righteous contentment. Affordable housing not in our domain. Let the low income and homeless remain in pain. We'll guard our community with zeal. No room for those who can't afford a meal. The audacity they have to ask for a roof, as if housing is a universal truth. We'll keep our castle, our pride, our gold, while they sleep on sidewalks enduring the cold. So let them suffer, let them cry, while we scoff and watch from up high. Not in our backyard nor in our thoughts. Affordable housing is for other folk. In denying this crucial step, we reaffirm our commitment to prevent social justice, compassion, and equality. Let us perpetually be apathetic to this opportunity to make a lasting impact on the lives of our residents. Keep creating a city where everyone has access to become a cretin of prison, medical, and pauper of death statistics. Together we sustain a hellish future for all.
Thank you.
Sarcastically, Loa Bennett.
Michael Maloney could approach the dais. Our next speaker is T. Dwayne Gordon.
Greetings, Council and Mayor. We appreciate the opportunity to exercise our democratic freedoms here today. It's a beautiful day in Cincinnati to see this wonderful crowd assembled to petition our government. Our board at Community Shares of Greater Cincinnati, where I am CEO, has endorsed the Affordable Housing Amendment proposal because of the intersectionality of affordable housing with all of the marginalized populations that our member charities serve in this community and work to center in their missions. The group that has worked together over the past couple of years to put this initiative in place have gathered the signatures to place this on the ballot for the public, for the voters to decide, are we serious enough about this issue to tax ourselves to solve it? The problem is state law requires 2 votes to accomplish that, and that delays implementation a year. There are people in our city who are dying because of lack of affordable housing. They can't wait a year. Please vote to put this on the ballot under City Council's discretion, so only 1 public vote is necessary to vote it up or down. We encourage from our board the voters to vote in favor of this amendment, but we are going to vote on it, and you can make that process much easier on the population and on the people in need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Council.
Excuse me, 1 second. I apologize. Could I please have Reverend David Meredith approach the dais, please? Our next speaker is Valissa Ward, followed by Michael Maloney. Go ahead, Ms. Ward.
Okay. Hello. I am an employee at Bethany House, and I just wanted to say that our facility is always filled to capacity with a waiting list. It's impossible for us to reduce recidivism there because of the homeless epidemic here in the city of Cincinnati. I watch my clients who are suffering from grief and depression because they don't know what the future holds. I had a property owner to contact me and say, hey, listen, good news. I have a 2-bedroom for $2,100. That's ridiculous for a single woman who has 5 children making $14 an hour to afford that type of rent. My clients are at their wits' end trying to figure out what's next and what the future holds. The Bible says when it's in your power to do good, do it. We need housing now. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I please have Eliza O'Keefe approach the dais? Our next speaker is Michael Maloney. Welcome, sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, ladies and gentlemen, my message is simple. We're talking about human suffering. And my appeal to you is to remember the experiences that you're having yourself. It's not just them anymore. It's people in our own families and people in our own neighborhoods. It's a national problem. It's a threat to our country. And my simple message is that when I talk to social workers, when I refer homeless people or people who can't afford an apartment to a social worker, they tell me all I can do is refer them to a homeless shelter. Many of these are educated, somewhat advantaged people, but they're not making enough money, and they're suffering, and they're causing other people to suffer. Thank you.
Thank you. Could I please have Samantha Sears or Searles approach the dais? Our next speaker is Reverend Meredith. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I'm Reverend David Meredith, Director of Urban Ministry for the United Methodist denomination. Thank you to all of you for your service on behalf of the community and on behalf of everyone in it. On behalf of 30,000 United Methodists and over 140 United Methodist congregations in Cincinnati and the surrounding region, I come today to persuade you to resolve to put funding for affordable housing on this November ballot. As a region and a city, we need affordable housing, and we need it now. As a pastor, and like my many colleagues in United Methodist congregations, persons in housing crisis are regular visitors in our studies. I have listened to the heartache, watched people struggle, helped them to get by, blessed them to move in with others or move out of the city because their income would not provide safe, secure, clean, decent housing. These folks are working folks, providing services to you and me: childcare, security, hospitality, customer service. Yet they can't find a place they can afford. We need that housing now, and you can facilitate it with your resolve. No matter whatever else the business community may say, they need these workers too. They need their best, which is only possible if those persons and workers live in safe, secure, clean, decent, and affordable housing. Your resolve to fund it with a restored earnings tax will benefit those businesses, those employers, and residents alike.
Thank you, Reverend.
It's never too soon to do good. Do it now.
Our next speaker, if I could have Samantha Sears and Jan Seymour approach the dais. Our next speaker is Eliza O'Keefe. Welcome.
My name is Eliza, and I'm a member of the Young Activists Coalition. I'm here to tell you to pass a motion today committing yourself to put funding for truly affordable housing on this November's ballot because we need housing now. My organization, YAC, has spent the past several years fighting for disciplinary reform within Cincinnati public schools to address the vast racial disparities in how discipline is applied there. One criticism we have gotten is you are trying to change something surface. You do not have the power to address the symptoms of endemic racism that harm every community in the city before we even reach the school level. I mean access to nutrition, healthcare, stable housing, basic human rights. And that's true. I mean, we do our small part. We do not have that power, but you as members of City Council do. Or more accurately, YC alone does not have that power, but the movement that has grown around the lack of affordable housing in Cincinnati does. We have the numbers and the commitment and the stories. We can, if you want to force us to take the long way around for fear of upsetting certain voters, for fear of developers, put the amendment on the ballot anyway. And if passed, it will create new jobs, it will create opportunities for minority contractors and developers, it will improve the quality of life of, even grant the ability to survive to the people of the city, which is your job. In your inability to act, you have made it ours. But you can still put this measure on the ballot in November to expedite that process and to put your verbal commitments to affordable housing into actual effect. We cannot wait another year.
Thank you. If I could have Shirley Blair approach the dais, please. Our next speaker is Samantha Sears.
Hi, my name is Samantha Searles, and I am a program director at Ignite Peace, formerly the Intercommunity Justice and Peace Center, or IJPC. Our work centers on educating the community about social justice issues and advocating to challenge unjust systems. We are here today because the housing system in our city is an unjust system. At Ignite Peace, we work with grassroots community leaders who've been marginalized by our society. Specifically, I'd like to address housing issues faced by individuals who have been wrongfully convicted and spent decades on death row, and newly arrived immigrants having to start over. In March, a man originally from Cincinnati who unjustly spent 20 years on Ohio's death row came back home to be closer to his support network. Finding him safe, affordable housing was an immense challenge. He needed to be close to public transportation, close to social services, and close to his network. Right now, he's paying way more than he should for a two-bedroom apartment that has many issues, including a leaky roof and a broken stove. After spending 20 years in jail for a crime he didn't commit, he deserves better. Ignite Peace also coordinates the Immigrant Dignity Coalition, a collection of over 40 organizations. The issue of affordable housing has been the number one concern raised at coalition meetings for the past 2 years. The first thing newly arrived immigrants need is a safe, affordable place to live. Many do not qualify for government assistance or have enough money when they arrive to pay Cincinnati's high rent. In the past 2 months, hundreds of asylum-seeking Mauritanians and Central Americans have settled in the area needing affordable housing. Right now, they're sleeping on floors and in spare rooms with no space to put down roots. Cincinnati is their home now, and they're here to stay. Please use your power to support these new Cincinnatians in our sanctuary city by putting the Affordable Housing Trust Fund on the ballot. We need housing that is truly affordable for those most in need. The trust fund will ensure those units are built and made available to the populations that need them most. Being forced to live in an overpriced substandard housing should not be a reality in Cincinnati.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. If I could have Lenore Newland please approach the dais. Our next speaker is Jan Seymour. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and other council members and other city
Could you get closer to the mic? I
and other
apologize.
city leaders. I'm here today to ask you to take action. And what I would like to see you do is to put this amendment on the ballot. You can do that, and it will simplify the process. You can also do that and restore the people's faith in you to do what you were elected to do.